Alright, second take as I messed up the microphone settings again. But as you can see on the main accounts, I made 400 on both, and on the account that I'm risking 1.5 times heavier on, I made 630. I did downsize risk a little bit just because of conditions, which we will go over later. But as you can see, right, 1 of 1 today, just one trade on all the accounts, and a total of 1,400 between all three. So let's get into the charts. To start off, yesterday, YM traded down into this weekly gap. Right, so we have a SMT, a weekly SMT fill, SMT between weekly lows, and also a sequential SMT. It doesn't really matter as I only use sequential SMT for the 6 hour and 90 minute, not the higher time frames like this. RTY also traded into this gap, which is significant, not in terms of SMT, but it's in terms of framework. And do we have a very spaced out SMT between these lows, which is most likely the trigger that made NQ come and make a new all-time high during Asia session, right? And it left the SMT with ES and of course YM. So coming into the day, we have a SMT with a previous day low, as you can see here, between the daily candlesticks. Obviously, NQ is leaving that failure swing, and YM is making a new low of day pretty early on in the candle. And you can see it's within the first quarter of this day, so it's technically right here. And then when YM's making lows, taking stuff out, it has a bullish close on the 6 hour time frame. And on NQ, the same midnight Q2 candle is a bearish candle. Right, so coming into the session, I'm bullish, and at the time, YM is a lot stronger. I didn't really use the 4 hour today, right? Using the 1 hour. Right, NQ was right here, so we pump in Asia session to make a new all-time high. Then we come down, form a delayed protraction. As you can see, right, this has no wick, so we come down, form a new wick on the daily candle, and then expand away. And on ES, we are up here, and we're very close to the previous high of the week. So I think that's going to be SMT break. So I'm definitely bullish here. All right, and then YM is all the way up here, close to the high week as well. And you can see we're way above Asia highs. All right, obviously failing to manipulate, and NQ is not above Asia highs. So I'm going to SMT break with NQ, which should make YM go higher to make a new high of week. RTY I'm not as worried about, but we do have some close proximity, well, later on I guess, to this previous day high. Right, and also more confluence to this is, we'll use RTY first. So we have these equal highs that we hit at 7 o'clock, and what do? We are just ranging, consolidating, so we're not reversing out this high, which is a continuation signature. And same thing with YM, right? We didn't really hit anything too relevant, but we just expand and then we consolidate. And consolidation is a continuation signature, so we should continue the trend. Obviously, the only way to really trade it is with a manipulation of an internal or external low, so that's what I'm waiting for. We have 8:30 news, but we're all the way up here. It didn't do anything in general. If you just go like to the 3 minute, all right, the news candle is right here, right? It's hard to find it. That's how bad it was. So if the news candle isn't really doing anything by like after 3 minutes, like just give up. Like it's not really gonna be a determining factor, especially when you have 9:30 as a driver. I think it did work for shorts technically, which is pretty messy. But yeah, as you can see, I let the 90-minute gap form after this 7:30 closure. So at 9 o'clock, we have a gap on ES right here and on YM. So on YM, 15 minutes before the open, all right, here we make an SMT fill with that 90-minute, and NQ is all the way up here, though I'm not really expecting it to hold. And even if it did, I wouldn't really take it because on the lower time frame, there's no like convincing set of opposing candles I would use to long. So it needs to be like A+, and obviously right when the open happened, we ended up breaking the SMT right over here. And we did that on all assets except for RTY, right? You can see we let the failure swing with this low right here. Right, and RTY I already knew it was gonna pump because we had the SMT, and then I just saw like right before the open, it was like basically about to CSD, and I just watched it, and then we did pump at the open, but then it did eventually calm down. right, so this candle close, it's a bullish candle on YM, but compared to NQ and ES, it's a PSP, where NQ is going very low in the range, very decoupled open. I'm assuming NQ is the liar just because it's all-time highs. We do have this low resistance, so I don't mind it getting taken out, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to go down here or not. All right, so RTY is clearly the most bullish. At this point, I'd say we're decently close to previous day high, and I did consider taking a CSD like this, but I said no because this is basically this is a 3-minute gap. It's also a 5-minute gap and a 15-minute gap. So I said if we get a strength switch where RTY takes out this low and YM doesn't, I would take YM, which is what I waited for and what happened. So you can see about 10 minutes into this candle, give or take, we come down to make the SMT, which on the YM is a strength switch, right? Because YM is the one that traded into this 90-minute low for sequential SMT and the SMT fill, and then now RTY is taking out this low. So here we have a strength switch, and I just take this 5-minute closure over. Right, somewhat high in the range, but right, with the strength switch and the draw is way closer on YM compared to RTY. The RTY did make it, so I just take YM here. Okay, and here's the execution. My position tool was off, so I ended up like setting a limit like basically where the market was instead of at this order block. So I was short like 1 micro, which isn't that big of a deal, but not ideal for me. I do this PSP marked out, but it's not that significant. Right, because at the time I was kind of ignoring NQ and ES, but right, obviously this 930 candle is a bullish candle, while on NQ it is a bearish candle. We do have another 2-stage where if you only use a triad, it'd be with NQ taking out this previous 15-minute low and YM leaving a failure swing, but I was using RTY here. And as you can see, I label that as the strength switch SMT fill, because it is a strength switch, but it's also a SMT fill because of that 15-minute gap. And yeah, looks like consolidation is a continuation signature, so I'm expecting it to continue through after manipulating this low as well. See, I draw that manipulation. And NQ at this point is probably going to make a new low of day, and it's a little bit worrying, but I just need to have YM stay high in the range. And where is my journal? We do have an end block that we're kind of trying to trade through the high of it that we are expecting at some point, but I kind of take it off because there's too much clutter, and at that point I'm already going to hold. This high is like kind of worrying because we could just take the high in reverse, but I just have to hold it. And yeah, like I said, RTY is not really reversing at the time on the lower time frame when we had this change state delivery. RTY is still kind of just pretty low in the range, not doing anything. We had like 1 doji candle or like 1 indecision candle. It's not very supporting, but like I said, since I'm trading the strength switch, I don't need all assets to reverse. That is a mechanical rule of mine. So then for NQ, I was thinking about shorting, but I was like, you can't chase it that low in the range. And I don't actually know if it wants the low day, especially because I think it was lying at the time. But yeah, I cut my risk to 200 for this trade because of the low probability conditions. So my main accounts were risking 200 and the other one was risking 350 because of the multiplier. But yeah, it's advanced premium discount on both sides of the market. So I definitely could have avoided it since it's two-sided. Like I said, I thought NQ was lying, and I was like, I might get stopped before NQ actually takes the low day, but nothing I can really do about it, right? I think it's the manipulation on NQ, but it is what it is. I think NQ is the one manipulating and lying today, but it is what it is. Usually it's YM, but today I thought it was NQ just because my draw is pretty strong. We had that obviously more confluence. And yeah, like this candle, like for some reason YM was super bearish when NQ and all the rest were like retracing. So it's kind of confusing me. I was like, what's going on? And then yeah, this like pump and then coming down is like test your mental, makes you makes you want to get out break even and like wait for maybe NQ to hit the low. But I'm just gonna stay in because I obviously overmanaged way too much before and lost out on trades. So I'm just gonna hold it. After this, there wasn't much. Like I said, here I meant to limit some interest on my micro. I did set this buy limit here on the order block to see if I could get in. I never came back to it, so it is what it is. I just moved my stop to the bodies to make up for it, but looks like I missed, which I mean, it's fine because obviously that means you don't have to see drawdown, which is good, but it is what it is. I was watching gold at the same time. It was all right, but not that clean, so I just left it alone, especially because I went into main indices in general. So yeah, just let this run. eventually hit CP. And that is pretty much the trade. See my executions here. Right. Same stuff you saw in the video with this initial CSD, but I'm waiting for the PSP to actually confirm it. Obviously, this would be a much better entry, a lot lower in the range, but I'm waiting for that shrink switch. Otherwise, R2Y is the main one I wanted to take. And yeah, we reached high a week here. On R2Y, we reached previous high. Not really sure if there's a way to get in. Maybe something like this. Better risk to reward, but I mean, I don't know. Not that much, and I probably wouldn't take it anyways, just because YM I'd already be in. But yeah, there is the trade. And then here's my trading journal. These stats are just for the past like week. Obviously, overall, I'm like 35% win rate or whatever, like a smaller profit factor. But right, since this like 8-day green streak, it's not counting today yet, but this will be the 8th day. I've had like by now it's probably like 50%, almost 50%. It's like 11 wins, 12 losses. Good profit factor, high risk reward. Everything looking pretty good. And it's not showing here, but as you can see, obviously, the account is over the buffer by a decent amount. So I can take a payout here for daily payouts. I don't need to wait like 5 trading days after this. So when the dashboard does update, I will take a payout. And then tomorrow, hopefully we can get one more on this one, and maybe even this one, as if we get a full size one, we can just be over the buffer by a little bit too, take a small one here and a full one on this one. So that's what I'm looking forward to. This one's still making its way. Might increase risk later on this one, but we'll see. And there's not much more to say. I showed the PnL calendar like every video, so obviously you can see how I wasn't profitable a couple of weeks. Pretty much every week that I had like a max loss losing day, minus 1,000, minus 1,000, minus 1,000, I was not profitable for the week. Otherwise, I would be. Because I'm only down by like 1 hour each week, if that. And then obviously when I am profitable, it's by a lot. So yeah, weathering some storms these weeks, finding psychology, but right now we are on it, on a really good run right now. Again, like 8-day win streak. This was a pretty messy trade. Like if you missed it or just didn't take because it was like two-sided, nothing wrong with that. I just decided to trust what I was seeing with R2Y being the strongest in the triad and this shrink switch, obviously. But yeah, that's probably going to be it for me today. Like I said, I'll take that payout later, but yeah, talk to you guys tomorrow.